How's it going, guys? Mr. Holton here. Long time no see. I know I haven't shown my face in months, and this is just because, I've moved to a new location. As you can see, I have a new studio, so to speak, a smaller room. And in the move itself to this apartment, my camera got, it broke. So I have to use my old webcam for this. Anyway, let's talk about today's topic, shall we? Okay, so God of War is getting a TV series. You might remember a few months ago that I talked about Mass Effect probably getting a TV series from Amazon. By then, that article that I read on that video, it hadn't been confirmed that Mass Effect was set in stone to become a TV series, but they haven't said anything else, so I assume that it still is. And now, we even have more information about God of War becoming a TV show than we have about Mass Effect, which is interesting. Anyway, this article that was published just a few days ago is from Deadline. And Deadline is one of those sort of magazines that, they usually don't talk about something unless it's, serious news. So this is not just a rumor. This is like actual, news. But anyway, in this article, the author Nelly Andreeva goes into depth about what's known about the development of this God of War TV series. We even have a scriptwriter or a couple of scriptwriters for the TV show itself. And when you read into it, we can see that the two scriptwriters that are writing it is Mark Fergus and Hawk Ostby. These two guys are mainly known for the TV series called The Expanse. For any Mass Effect or sci-fi fans out there, you'll probably know what it is about. It's basically a sci-fi, well, a very good sci-fi show. So it looks good. The thing is, Ostby, I know, he worked at Iron Man as well from Marvel, and wrote, I think he was the primary writer for Iron Man even. So, I mean, on the surface, it does look good, but I have some doubts, all right? So you might remember from that video when I talked about Mass Effect becoming a TV show that I sounded more optimistic than I am now. And that's because I hadn't watched that much of the Wheel of Time just yet. But when I dove into it a little bit more, I realized that I didn't really like the show that much in the end. And of course, like there's a lot of discussion going on with the Lord of the Rings TV series that is in the works as well by Amazon. I also made a video on that on my secondary channel where I'm just super worried because I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan as well. But when it comes to like God of War and Mass Effect are of course my favorite gaming franchises of all time. And I'm increasingly getting worried because these two giants of franchises, I don't think when I've thought about this for like a month or so about the Mass Effect TV show at least, I don't think that Mass Effect could really work as a TV show. Even if I am somewhat excited for it, I'm still very doubtful how they could make this work considering you play as Shepard, a character that can either be female or male. And no matter what they choose to go with, if they go with Shepard being the main protagonist, it's going to be really difficult in pulling in all the fans because, there are a lot of female fans and there are a lot of male fans. But then we have like God of War, right? And at first thought, it might be actually pretty simple to make a God of War TV show. And it would have to be almost a TV show because if they're going to make movies, they're going to have to make so many movies, for each game basically. But for a TV show, it should be necessary. But the fact that it's developed by Amazon, it just makes me all the more cautious, I think. And then we have the fact that, of course, Kratos, it's just one guy. You don't have to choose whether he's female or male. And depending on where they set it, is it's gonna be exploring like his earlier days before he became a God of War, when he was a general, or are they gonna start exploring it after 2018, where Kratos got to Scandinavia? I think it's going to be, his earlier days because that's something that newer fans haven't seen and maybe a lot of people haven't really dove that deep into that are newer fans. It would probably serve as a better introduction for, new people to God of War, where they start at the beginning. But then, making live action adaptations of games have always been sort of like a bad idea. It's never really worked. The only thing that I can think of right now that's been good in a way, it was obviously, Witcher, but that's based off, the books mostly. They only took a few inspirations from the game, or The Witcher 3 at least, I think, or well, Witcher 1 and 2 as well, I guess. That's basically it, I think. The Witcher is the only game-related TV show or live adaptation that has been really good. But then, of course, The Witcher's TV series has its own faults, and I'm not going to dive into that whole rabbit hole because there's a lot of stuff that's just that you can be critical about when it comes to The Witcher. But at least when it comes to like Mass Effect and God of War, I have such a hard time seeing how they could make that into a TV show. God of War might be simpler, but it's still like, then we have like the question, is it really necessary to make God of War into a TV show? It feels like it really isn't, because the game itself, like if we just go on God of War 2018, like the entire game is such a cinematic masterpiece without even being a movie. Like it is its own movie in the game, because you constantly follow Kratos and see stuff from his perspective, and it's just so damn cinematic. And by the way, I can't wait until Ragnarok releases. I'm so hyped for that. But I don't see the necessity to make a TV show. I understand that there are people that don't play games. So maybe, it's to introduce new fans, of course, as I said before. And probably it's mostly because of the money, because there's such a huge potential to make a lot of money from these franchises. But I'm so worried that it's gonna like become this sort of Star Wars situation, with the sequels where the fans are like having a war against each other and against LucasArts and against Disney. Like, I'm so worried it's going to become the same situation here. And we're already seeing aspects of that when it comes to the Lord of the Rings. And while God of War and Mass Effect aren't necessarily as huge franchises as Lord of the Rings, it's still going to be a shit show, because not everybody's going to get what they want. And that's what I mean when you have to choose like a shepherd that's either male or female. Like if you choose to go with a male shepherd, then you're going to alienate a lot of female fans. If you go with a female shepherd, you're going to alienate a lot of male fans. So I don't know. We're kind of in like, I'm looking forward to it. I want to see how they're going to do it. And then we have the question, like when it comes to the protagonist, if they go with like a male shepherd for Mass Effect, we've already seen hints of Henry Cavill maybe taking up the role of somebody important, probably Shepard. And well, we don't really know yet. Maybe it's not about Shepard at all. And then we have God of War. Who would they go with the main actor? People have said Jason Momoa. And the thing is, like, I like Jason Momoa, but I don't see him as Kratos. Like, even if he could somewhat look the part, I still don't. His voice, while tough and manly, he just does not have the gravitas that the original voice actor for God of War had, or what's his name again? The guy who played Teal. I know his name. It's just slipping off my mind. But either of these two had amazing voices. They have amazing voices. And I'm just worried that, Jason Momoa, when you hear him talking sometimes in like movies, you can, like his voice can almost break through sometimes. And it almost sounds like he sounds like a teenager sometimes when he's trying too hard to sound deep. And I'm worried that that's going to shine through if they're going to go with him. And I'm not saying they're going to go with him, but that's a likely candidate. Look at what happened with The Rock, It
doesn't matter!
People wanted him to play Black Adam in DC for so long. And then, bam, he's Black Adam. So, fans have a lot of pulling power. So it's absolutely possible they're going to go with Jason Momoa in that case, because I can't really think of anybody else except for the voice actor for Kratos right now, because, he's fairly big and muscular. The question is, would they be able to do it? But yeah, maybe I'm not really sounding as worried as I probably feel, but that might be because I have some form of hope for these two like franchises. Mainly, I'm still gonna be I'm still gonna be focused on the games because the games are masterpieces, both of them. I just really hope they don't mess either of these up. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you excited about this? Are you at least a little bit worried? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, guys, have a great day. Mr. Olton signing out.